Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm addressing a subscriber's request about the challenges I faced when I started out in my career as a business analyst and how I tackled those challenges. They commented on my effective user stories video. Thanks, Pippa. Not sure if you've already done a video on this, but could you do one on the things that caught you out when you first started and how you overcame them, for some encouragement for newbies? Great request. Thank you for making that request because we're having a bit of content block. But anyway, so today I'm going to give you 5 key challenges that I overcame in my early career. I'll just list them first. The first one is fear of authority. I had fear of authority. I remember being so intimidated by senior managers or people in higher positions. One way that helped me is to continuously prepare before I interact with these senior level people. So I remember a meeting with a senior manager. My hands were literally shaking when they asked for my opinion in a meeting. Now, this is not a meeting, a virtual meeting. It was in the office in those days where we were in the office. So I realized later that my fear of authority or people in higher positions came from a lack of confidence in myself. So one thing that helped me is to continuously prepare for meetings. Before I have any meetings, or if I know that I have any interaction with any stakeholder, I make sure that I prepare and over prepare and trying to understand any topics that we're trying to cover in these meetings or in these interactions in and out. Try to understand those topics. And from there, I just started to see these people as mentors rather than threats, right? You have to think about it. These people are people. They're people too, just like you. They're people's parents. They're people's aunties and uncles. They're people's brothers. They're just people. So if you have that in your mind, rather than thinking of their job title or their position, it kind of helps you to ease into those communications. But again, one thing that I would suggest you do is always prepare. And one final thing is that having that effective communication skills, which is one of the key skills that you need to possess as a business analyst anyway. So those 2 things, effective communication skills and preparation. And also, more than 2, think of those people as just people, aside or outside their job titles. Just think of them as people. So that's my first one, fear of authority. I had huge fear of authority. My second challenge is not knowing the industry. Right. So when I first started, I worked in the accounting industry. That was my first BA experience. I didn't know anything about accounting processes. I didn't really know so much about the company and how it worked. And as business analysts, when you're put on projects or having to interact with colleagues or stakeholders within the company or the industry that you work in, you need to have some sort of background knowledge of the industry. So that was my mistake anyway. So when you start out, for newbies, whatever industry you find yourself in, try to do some research, try to do some learnings, read articles, attend webinars, follow industry leaders online on LinkedIn and watch what they do, what they talk about on their spaces. This will help you to boost your confidence and help you be more competent in your work. So this is what I did. Again, it's about reading up about that industry, going to networking events. You don't want somebody to come and ask you about any recent industry development and you have no clue and you are obviously working within that industry. It can be quite embarrassing. So again, preparation, reading up, following industry trends, attending webinars. Those are the ways that you can tackle those challenges. Number 3, which is a very key one, difficult stakeholders, not knowing how to handle difficult stakeholders. With one of our key skills being communication, I think that's one of the reasons why business analysts need to have great communication skills, because we always interact with stakeholders from various perspectives, various experiences, right? So we want to be able to communicate effectively with those people. You also want to have empathy and active listening skills, any other tools that you need to help you become an effective communicator. So dealing with difficult stakeholders was a big one for me. If you guys have watched previous or some of my older videos, I used to talk about having imposter syndrome or being quite reserved and not really speaking much. Then having to interact with people was a sort of problem for me, to be honest, in the past. Yeah. So it was a big problem. I never thought I would be this confident in my career. One thing you want to do is work on your empathy, work on your active listening skills. Genuinely trying to understand the various stakeholder perspectives will help you find it easier to collaborate with those stakeholders and find a common ground. The key thing here is effective communication skills. So an example from my experience, I had a stakeholder who was always criticizing my ideas, where I'd got to the point where I could now speak and ask questions, little by little, slow by slow. And this person was always challenging me, a woman as well. Initially, I took it personally. I'm the type of person that I take things personally. I need to work on that. But yeah, I took her approach personally, like, what the hell? Why are you coming for me, right? What do you have against me, kind of thing. But then trying to decide an approach to take to tackle those people, because you will always experience those people. If it's just that first experience that I had, I knew that I would always experience another person in a different function. If I move away from the company I was, every project there is always a difficult stakeholder. And this is also a key thing for business analysts to take on board, especially when you're preparing for business analyst interviews. Always make sure that you have that answer to that question. It always comes up. How would you handle a difficult stakeholder? Can you give us an example of where you have experienced a difficult stakeholder and how you handle that? So in my own example, was this woman. She was just always stressing me out, to the point that I went to the toilet to cry one time, right? That's a story for another day. So what I did was take an approach to book a one-to-one meeting with this. Just come and understand what is your problem with me. Not in that way, by the way. So try not to take things personally. We are all in a professional environment, professional setting. I decided to approach this person with one-to-one meeting where I could actively listen to their concerns, especially when it came to my ideas on this project. Another key pointer is I had this meeting outside work environment. Try to identify the stakeholder. When are they happiest? You can have some people that are just grumpy in the mornings, that are not morning people. You can kind of approach that person after lunch or during lunch. During lunch is always a good time. So I took the person out anyway for a lunch, and so I was able to kind of informally have a discussion with this person to understand their perspectives on my ideas or what their ideas are and how it kind of conflicts with mine and how we can work together moving forward, right? Like I mentioned, I had that meeting outside work environment. Just go out for lunch and have a chit chat, talk about the weather, talk about your pets, talk about your children, things like that. So taking this approach not only improved the relationship I had with this person, but it also provided those valuable insights that I needed for my project. So that's the third one. Difficult stakeholders. Take note of that as a newbie business analyst. And the fourth challenge that I have was lack of assertiveness. I think this kind of feeds into this difficult stakeholder experience that I had, because in order to tackle those type of people, you need to be assertive as well and be able to stand up for yourself and not just keep quiet. So that challenge it was really tough for me to be assertive. Again, being an introvert, being reserved and somewhat shy. Actually, no, I wasn't shy, to be honest. I'm not a shy person. I'm just very reserved. So I take that back. I wasn't shy. Yeah, but like I was saying, I really, really struggled with assertiveness. It just was really tough. One way that you can improve that is to practice in safer environments with your friends. Among my friends, if I'm a new person among a friendship group, I'm usually the quiet one and reserved one. But when I get to a comfort level, I'm a different person. I talk a lot and I can be quite loud. But my initial meeting with new people is reserved. I'm very introverted. So see if you can practice with your friends or mentors. If you have mentors, practice with them. Ask them what areas you need to improve on. Obviously, for this one, for me was lack of assertiveness. For being assertive, it's really important for you to voice your ideas confidently at the same time while respecting others. So don't be arrogant about it. So try to respect other people's opinions, and it's a skill that will develop over time. It's not something that you will just do at once. You develop it over time, and you can't develop with all the challenges that I'm talking about. You can't develop it sitting in your house and right, telling yourself that, oh, I can't do this, I don't have these skills. You need to put in the work to then find yourself in the space that you want to be in. How do you do that? Throwing yourself out there, doing courses, right? Interacting with people, finding a mentor to help you, like placing yourself in environments that you're not used to, going on webinars, going on networking events. You really, really need to put yourself out there. So for me, in team meetings especially, I used to stay very quiet. And I always felt like my ideas weren't good enough. So that brings me to my fifth challenge, which is interview and meeting preparations or meeting participation. Like I said, I always used to stay really quiet. I would think that my ideas weren't good enough, or I'll think that my questions are stupid, so I don't even say anything in the meeting. When you do your end of year reviews or regular reviews with your manager, they know you. They kind of know you, right? So through feedback, I don't like negative feedback. So once somebody tells me that, oh, you're not good at this, I work my ass off. Should I say that on YouTube? But I work really hard to improve on that negative feedback, because I just don't like people saying that, oh, you're this, you're not assertive, or you don't speak up in meetings. And I'm like, I start to find ways of how can I make myself speak up in meetings. You need to find avenues for that. So the problem with this, again, is all relating, I guess, but fixing it or focusing it on the interviews and meeting participation side of things, not knowing what to ask as well, not knowing what questions to ask during stakeholder interviews, or not knowing how to contribute in the meetings. Huge challenge. How did I tackle this? I learned to prepare a set of generic questions. Another thing is to review meeting agendas in advance so that you can think of things that you can contribute. If you look at meeting agendas, then you can then frame the questions that you might have to ask. Again, going back, preparation, everything, the circle of life. Right, around business analysis career is preparation. You need to prepare so that you can deliver the value that is expected of you. Right, so that's it. Those are the 5 challenges that I experienced at the start of my career and how I tackled those challenges. I hope I wasn't speaking too fast, because when I start flowing, I tend to speak too fast. But anyway, I'd love to hear your experiences, what challenges you're currently facing as a newbie or a transitioning business analyst, and what measures you're taking to overcome those challenges. Let's support each other in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it, and don't forget to subscribe for more content. In addition, if you'd like some guidance into sort of questions that you ask during your stakeholder interviews or workshops, click the link below to access my ebook on questions to ask during stakeholder interviews. Okay, so anyway, to wrap up the video, facing all these challenges at the beginning of my career, it was really hard. It was tough, but overcoming them was incredibly rewarding. The first thing that you need to do is first identify those areas of weaknesses and then begin to do the work on how to be better. So to all the newbies out there, remember, perseverance is key. So keep pushing, keep learning, and you'll get there eventually. It took me, I've not always been like this. I've been a business analyst for almost 10 years, almost a decade. It takes experience to build on your areas of weakness. Always remember that. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace.